Hello and welcome. This one should be a fun one. So, today's topic's very simple. Muhammad was a pedophile, plain and simple. If you disagree with me, you're more than welcome to call on in. We'll be going through some references here, talking about what they have to say, seeing it. Now, of course, the other side of this that many Muslims will point to, of course, is Rebecca herself. She is not as young as they claim. So some Muslims claim that Rebecca was 3 years old. I'd say not so much. So there you go. That's the sort of concept here. Again, all you have to do to join in on this live stream. This live stream is open to Christians, to Muslims, whatever. If you want to speak on this topic, give your perspective, you're more than welcome to join. You just have to click the link. I believe it is pinned. Let me go ahead and check that. Oh, look, it is pinned. Very easy. So you click that link. It opens up. Asks you for just some certification. Make sure you're actually a human. Just using either Facebook or YouTube, I believe. And then you can go ahead and jump on in. So, that being said, that is my statement that I say that the Quran supports prepubescent marriage. There's that statement there, which you're more than able to refute or confirm, depending on your perspective whenever you come on up. That the Hadith support that Aisha was prepubescent, that she was before the age of maturity when Muhammad married and consummated the marriage with her. And that Rebecca herself, by all actual reliable sources, say that she was much older than 3 years old. Most likely in her teenage years. So if you disagree and I agree with it, whatever, this is an open call-in. So I know I made a couple of videos a while back covering these topics. Many Muslims wanted to challenge me on it. Many people were trying to refute me on it. So here you go. Here's your opportunity to refute me. You're more than welcome to come on up. And again, this one is open to everyone. Hello and welcome. Mohammed Sensei? As far as Muhammad, now, Muhammad, according to Islam, is the ideal man. He is the man that every Muslim should be like. He is the code of conduct according to the Quran. And if Muhammad is participating in some, let's say, disgusting acts, then that's a bit of an issue, at least in my book. If I'm following Islam, then if my God says, hey, this man here is the ideal for all humanity. And I look at him and he's over there with a little girl and I'm like, there's something funky going on over there. I have an issue. Okay? Very simple. And if any religion is claiming that he is the ideal man, I'd say that that religion is absolutely disgusting. So, hey, welcome. See some of you guys here. Welcome. As far as your statement here, what am I trying to refute? I've already stated the premise. I can restate it if you so desire, that Muhammad was a pedophile, that he married a prepubescent child, had intercourse with her when she was prepubescent. That would be Aisha. And since he is the ideal in Islam, it's a bit disgusting. So if you guys disagree with that, agree, whatever. If you got perspective you want to give, again, you guys can click that live stream button. Go ahead and join us on here, and we'll have a conversation. I would request that we try to stay on topic. Definitely there's people waiting in the live stream chat for it. Trying to refute or trying to prove? Well, I don't have to prove it because the Hadith already proved that Muhammad did it. What I'm stating is this is a thing. If you disagree with me or agree with me, you're more than welcome to join and give your perspective. Taking someone is interested on hearing your take on this topic. Okay, so my perspective would be if the sources are telling me that it's a certain way, I kind of take it as it's a certain way. Definitely if the Muslims are saying, hey, this is reliable sources, this is where we go to, would be the Hadith and the Quran. And the Hadith and the Quran say it's okay and that Muhammad was doing this and this is a code of conduct for all Muslim men to be like, that they can have child marriage, that they can have marriage to prepubescent girls, then I have a bit of an issue with it. I find it very immoral. So, that would be the premise. So the problem is if Muhammad, messenger of God, commits child assault and God doesn't stop him or warn him, yeah, but it's even worse than that because the reason why Muhammad says that he should be able to marry Aisha, according to the Hadith, is that he got a vision from Allah, a dream, that he was to marry her. So therefore, he was to marry her. Which, shoot, that, okay. So either if the marriage to Aisha was wrong, but Allah signed off on it, that would be an issue because obviously we would say that that would be a God signing off on something that is absolutely wrong. And if the vice versa, if it wasn't, Allah didn't really sign off on it, then Muhammad lied about what Allah said, so Muhammad would be a false prophet in that case. So either way, it seems like be a bit of an issue. Oh, Muhammad's father is Satan. Well, I doubt that, but he definitely was listening onto that, and I've done a lot of things in production that should help Christians become better evangelists later on, and that's one of the topics I would be dealing with because after all, Allah is the greatest of all deceivers according to the Quran. So yeah, that by its own testimony. I don't make the claims. Allah makes the claims. I just point to what Allah is saying. With Islam, that's basically all you have to do, and it's pretty rough when it comes down to it. So, well, yeah. So, problem is Muhammad always used Allah to justify his selfish desires. He did, in fact, even Aisha calls him out on that and says, "See, even your God hastens to your desires." You see that in the Hadith, where it's like Aisha gets it, right? Aisha gets that Allah is just his prophet. That's it. And that whatever Muhammad wants, he gets. You see that whenever he takes his adopted son's wife as his own wife, it's Allah who comes in and says, no, your desires are just, so you go and take your adopted son's wife for your own. But I'm also, the whole reason is because then everyone knows that it's okay to do that. That's okay for men to take their adopted sons' wives as their own wives. Well, the issue with that is immediately after they just abolishes adoption in Islam, so it completely defeats the purpose. Truly does justify it. Same way whenever he's talking about sleeping with his sex slaves and his wives catch him sleeping with sex slaves, and he promises he doesn't do it, and then Allah reveals, you shouldn't forbid what Allah has already given you. So then it justifies him going back and sleeping with his sex slaves. So yeah, repeating pattern, and even Aisha could catch on to that. So that's a bit of an issue. Again, off topic for today. Topic for today is Aisha herself. Because again, I made a couple of videos on this, and people wanted to try to refute me. So I'm like, okay, fine, here's your opportunity. But I'm also open to hear from you guys' perspective on it, just in general as well. So it doesn't have to be contradiction. You can jump on here. You can give your guys' opinions on what you think about this topic. So that is what we are dealing with here. Plain and simple. And of course, as soon as you bring up Aisha, they immediately run to Rebecca and try to prove that Rebecca was 3 years old when she got married. The problem is, unlike the Quran, we actually, when we turn to the Bible, we get the actual context and a bit more information right here. So you can't just make those blank claims without actually seeing what Rebecca was doing just prior to her marriage. And if a 3-year-old could do that, well, that would be a pretty big miracle in my book. So I'm going to go ahead and post the link for anyone that wants to call on in. Again, if you have issues, if you disagree or agree, you're more than welcome to come on and we'll just have an open dialogue. This right here is just a platform that we can have an open and clear dialogue back and forth. We're going to try to stay on topic, more or less, but just work with each other and have a good conversation. Don't just jump around and try to make stupid claims, or things might happen. So, here we go. There we go. So I got that in the chat for anyone that wants to call in. Now, when you call in, again, they'll ask for your just either Facebook or YouTube. I don't see that. That's kept private. No one sees that, and then you can put in whatever name. You can be Joe Bob for all I care. Now someone's going to call in just with that name just to mess with me. Oh, see, it's Joe Bob. He finally called in. Look at that. Which is fantastic. On top of that, we know that going back to the topic itself, it wasn't necessarily normal, and even Muhammad later on refused to have his daughter marry Umar or Abu Bakr. And she was the same age as Aisha was when they consummated the marriage. Not when Muhammad married her, but when they consummated the marriage. And even Abu Bakr, who was the oldest, was 3 years younger than Muhammad was, so definitely wasn't an age gap issue. But yet that's a problem. Let me make sure I've got this right. No, this is not the right one. Did I use the wrong reference? Huh. That is unusual. Okay. So that would be the concept there. And we'll see if any Muslims come on up and take the conversation or anyone else does. There we go. So there's the link. You guys were all chatty beforehand. Now you guys are all quiet. Man, it's just going to be me sitting up here talking to myself the entire time? Or what? Because there's so many Muslims saying, I'm going to refute you. I'm going to refute you. You're wrong about this. You're wrong about this. It can't possibly be true. And I'm like, let's have a conversation. You say it's one way. I say it's not that. So, where you be at? Yeah, looking at some of the chat right now, looking at some of the comments on other videos about this topic right now, and I am seeing a couple of people who are like, it's easy to refute you. Do I ever have? Yes, actually, we have quite a few good conversations occasionally, but it's just, eh. Sometimes they want to talk about, it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I leave it open to an open live stream where they can just call in willy nilly and nothing happens. Which is like, guys, you guys claim you guys want to refute me, but yet you don't show up. So that's one or the other. Yes, we do have some, I would say, aggressive conversations. Um, so yeah, sometimes I got good ones, sometimes I got bad ones, sometimes anyone anyone can join. Anyone can try to argue this point of view. Either way, either try and justify or give me some points that you would say definitely shores up this argument. I don't want to start pulling out my references until we actually sit down and have a conversation. Because I would kind of be showing my hand when it comes down to it. But if you want to call in, you're more than welcome to call on in. So in my personal opinion, do you think that Aisha's parents allowed Muhammad to marry Aisha for influence or power? Absolutely. Muhammad could give them. Since the fact is that her daddy was Abu Bakr, who became the first rightly guided caliph for a grand total of 2 years. And definitely was very influential and had a lot of power when it came to that, and even tried to marry Fatima at one point, but was rejected by Muhammad, which is like, it's a little bit of a slap in the face, to be honest with you. I'd definitely say that, yeah, it was either a marriage of convenience or a marriage for some wanting to have power and influence in some regard. So, yes, Aisha was Muhammad's best friend's daughter, and then his best friend asked to marry his daughter, Muhammad's daughter, and he was rejected straight up. Which is like, man, slap in the face. Because if memory serves, Fatima at the time was 9, and Abu Bakr was 3 years younger than Muhammad was when he married Aisha. So, yeah, that's like, dude, what? Satan's. I don't think so, but maybe. Most likely. I mean, it's a cause of a lot of that temptation, a lot of that issue. So, okay, let me throw this on back in again. Again, this is open to anyone that wants to have a conversation. I will give priority to Muslims who call in, but Christians are welcome, atheists are welcome. I don't know. Last time I had this conversation, I don't know. An atheist that joined. That was a really enjoyable conversation. So I think next time I'll just do a topic and give more of a presentation. But I think next one is just an open call in. I don't know if I'll do an open Q&A next week or I'll just do an actual topic. Oop, what the heck is that? Big fat fingers trying to get through the stuff. There we go. Okay. So, let's see here. Man, I'm going to have to start going through some of the references. So the one that they claim a lot whenever you bring this up would be Rebecca's marriage to Isaac. And we find that in Genesis 15 through 22. Which, let me share my screen here. We'll go ahead and go through some of the references while we're waiting for the Muslims to call in. So we'll wait for that. I actually have both of them sitting right here. Yeah, I've gone through both. I have both of them sitting right here. So we have Quran, this is the Arabic, and we have this is the NIV. So Bible. I got a couple other Qurans here, but that's not for yet to be shown. Those get shown later on. Well, why not? This one right here is the English one that I have. It's seen better days. And of course, my goat. I'm still hungry. So let's see here. Let me pull up that reference. So here we go. Sure that's going on. There we go. Okay, so this is in Genesis 15 through 22 is where we see it. I think it's mostly at the end here, 15 through 22. Sorry, I might be incorrect about this. 22. Yeah, I think I got my reference wrong. Huh. 1 second here. So that is whenever they're talking about Rebecca. She goes down. The story is that Isaac's dad sends a servant over to get someone to marry his son, Rebecca. He finds Rebecca. Rebecca comes out. The servant beforehand prays to God, says, "Hey, God, if you want me, please show me that this is the right one for my servant, for my master's son. If she comes out and asks to give me water and to give my camels water," and then she proceeds to do that. So Rebecca comes out and does that. Now, granted, Rebecca is carrying a jar. The water jars are normally used for an entire day of water, so they have 9 gallons as their maximum capacity. They're normally 32 inches by 20 inches. They hold 9 gallons of water, which is 75 pounds. So that's a lot of weight there. Yep. See you, bud. So, yeah. So, no, a 3-year-old doing that's a little bit of a stretch. And then she fills the water for 10 camels. Each camel drinks about 30 gallons of water a day for them to be fully fulfilled, definitely after a long journey. That's about 300 gallons of water that she'd have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, super powerful Jewish infants. Yep. They should have taken over the world with the power of their infant children. So children can be super powerful. Second here. Check that real quick. So, yeah. So, again, I don't know if anyone's actually going to call in today, if this is how it's going to go. Lots of talk, no actual substance. What did Aisha do after Muhammad's death? Let's see. She eventually led a battle, led one side of the faction against the third, according to them, rightly guided caliph. She was captured at the Battle of the Camel and then taken back and put into basically a tower and became basically just a scholar in a tower. And that was it. At least if memory serves, it's what happened to her. Now, she died childless And considering that is like the thing in Islam that women are supposed to do, kind of sucks. Considering she was only 18 when Muhammad died. But after all, no one could marry Muhammad's wives after Muhammad died. Nope, couldn't be allowed. I don't know what's going on with the whole jinn. Nope. Just grow her hair like Rapunzel. No evidence of that in the history, but it was interesting. That would be interesting. There you go. You got Rapunzel. Rapunzel, let down your. It's Aisha. Aisha, let down your hair. I don't know if I necessarily trust it because again, after Muhammad married her, she lost all of her hair. All of her hair fell out, and it had to grow back in, possibly due to stress of marrying an old man. So here we go. Again, if you want to talk about this topic, you're more than welcome to call on in. Here we do that. And have a discussion. That's the point of these sort of live streams. It's just open discussion back and forth. I mean, this is your eternal salvation on the line here. If Muhammad is correct and Islam is true, then I want to know about it. But if Islam is false and Muhammad was just a dirty pedophile who used God to justify his desires on earth, you should definitely know about it too. So one way or the other. It's a little important. Jesus is Lord. Yep. Yes, he is. That's interesting concepts. A lot of times Christians and talking about Jesus' salvation through the cross alone is really interesting talking to Muslims about what sin is in Islam because it's so much different than the concept that is within Christianity. The sin put forward in this book is very different than the sin put forward in this book. Although, again, they claim to be from the same, at least this book claims that the Bible is from the same God, which is not true. King of Kings. Let's see here, going back through some of the live chat here. I don't think this guy here, I don't think Jalal there has his head screwed on right, but whoever said that Jesus meant son of Zeus. No, it didn't. Sorry, off on that one. You look at Zeus, and Zeus has nothing to do with Jesus. Absolutely nothing. It makes no logical sense at all. If you won't call on in, bud. We can talk. I mean, seriously, the topic doesn't seem to be, no Muslim seems to be willing to get on here and talk about the topic. So if you want to try that one, sure, let's go ahead and talk about it. If you're up for it, come on up. Yeah, so Muhammad's more like a cult leader. Yeah, so there's so many parallels between him and like Joseph Smith. It is crazy between the two. If you look definitely into their early years, where Joseph Smith is going out into the woods and he gets these special revelations and he gets these golden plates and all of these things are like, there's a lot of parallels to that and Muhammad in the cave. You look at some of their lives, you see a lot of parallels between the two. So, yeah, yeah, so there's a lot of things in Islam. If we make Islam look bad, you need to lie about it. It's obligatory that you lie in order to make Islam look better. At the same time, it's also obligatory well, not obligatory, but highly recommended if you cover up other Muslim sins. Because if you cover up other Muslim sins, then on the day of resurrection, Allah will cover up your sins. We'll just ignore some of your sins and keep them hidden. Which honestly doesn't sound like a very fair judge to me. Because if I went to court and the judge is like hiding some of the evidence of crimes being committed by the person who's being prosecuted, I'd have some issues with that. I'd say that's a pretty corrupt God there. Again, you're welcome to call on in. I know you keep talking about how the Hadith being fabricated lies. I would actually agree as far as the authenticity of the Hadith are very questionable. But that's what Muslims claim to be true, so I go off of that. And even in that case, it still looks pretty bad. Some of the things in the Hadith are horrendous. And unfortunately, you can't really just take the Quran itself. I mean, this is not a self-sufficient book. It really isn't. It is not a self-sufficient book in any way, shape, or form. Unlike the Bible. The Bible is self-sufficient. The Quran, not so much. Because you need the additional explanations from outside of the Quran in order to explain it. So the difference is Joseph Smith made up evidence. Yeah, so pretty crazy. You read the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible and you see all these references to Joseph Smith, and then you find out he's the only one that actually made that up, those verses up, and they don't actually exist anywhere else other than the translation Joseph Smith did. And those are all the things that he uses as evidence that he was a prophet. It's like, dude, seriously? I mean, seriously, that would be like me opening up the Quran, adding my name, and saying, Prophet Eric, and saying, see, all you Muslims, I'm a prophet, and it says so in the Quran. You gotta be kidding me, really? Really? You're actually going to get sold that? Yeah, Muhammad failed to make any evidence. Well, what he did was he just relied on no one ever checking his stuff, right? Because he would just rely on them not being able to verify what he said. So he would say, oh, no, I'm so totally in the Bible. It says me clearly in the Bible and in the Torah and the Gospels. I'm there. I'm in there. Go ask the Jews and they'll verify. And then you go ask the Jews and they'll say, who's this black Jew? Yeah, we got no clue who this Muhammad dude is. So yeah, he made up things. He made claims without any actual evidence behind it, and then he would kill anyone who questioned him. Joseph Smith, definitely early on, I had someone point out early on, Joseph Smith was pretty violent, but then toned his rhetoric down, where it's the opposite with Muhammad. He starts off peaceful and then ratchets it up as he gains power. You would kill people who disagreed. Yep. Just ask a couple of the poets who would make songs of him, and then, oh shoot, no. Or the first ex-Muslim. I did a whole live stream with Adam Seeker on that, and he was like, kill him, but you didn't end up killing him because he ended up coming back and giving his oath. And then Muhammad whined to his followers, why didn't they just kill him instead? And they're like, what? We don't know what's in your head. How can we know what's in your head? I think he's other. I think if I had him on before. So, okay. Yeah, so I'll just pull this up here. I'm mostly going to pay on the other side of the Hadith. Yeah, the Hadith coming. The Hadith collections that we have, Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, come over 200 years after Muhammad. So that's 200 years afterwards. That's crazy how much of a time gap there is between it. And even the Hadith talk about why they wrote down the Quran. They wrote down the Quran because they were afraid that they would lose it. It was, I think, the Battle of Yamama, that they lost some of the people who knew sections of the Quran and lost parts of the Quran. So then they're like, oh, shoot, we need to write this down to make sure that we will not forget what Muhammad taught. And yet we're supposed to believe that they got all the Hadith right 200 years after the fact. Yeah, not a good way to start off. So again, Muhammad married a prepubescent child. That's the topic, which seems to be the topic no Muslim wants to jump on here and talk about. And I'm just talking with the chat here, bringing up what they have. So again, call on in. We'll have a conversation. It'll be a good time back and forth. I'll let you state your case beforehand. That's the normal rule of thumb with this. Go. So after all, she was absolutely and completely 9 years old! If you disagree with that, come on up here, but my view of it is still...
Brother,
That'd be my statement on Muhammad in general. So let's see. Dude, you can come up and talk. What is with these guys? They never want to come up and talk. They'll always chat from the background, throw darts, but never actually step up. Come on, have a conversation, dude. Bring your evidence. I'd love to hear your evidence on this. How old was Aisha when she was married then? If the Hadith are all corrupted and not reliable, well, how old was she? As well as a myriad of other questions that I will have for you as well. And you can answer them the way you want to answer them. Yep, Quran 465, they had to agree with all the judgments of Muhammad. Yeah, but they didn't have it for 200 years. Now, the most interesting, I look at that, the most interesting one that I can pull up is the fact that there are images of Muhammad who are written down, who are pictures of Muhammad that were drawn, pictures, and they're all from Muslim sources there. We got those in the first couple hundred years of Islam, but that would have been before the Hadith, who is talking about, don't don't draw pictures. The draw of pictures will be in hellfire. All that stuff didn't come along until Sahih al-Bukhari 200 plus years later. So for the first 200 years, and even after that point, we still had sections because it would take time for the Hadith even to spread. There are people still drawing pictures of Muhammad years after that. I don't know. I've had some good conversations. Oh, believe me, I've got the references up. Actually, I don't know. I should have that one up. Should have had that one up. Yeah, I do have Quran 56 for. Of course I do. I got that one, but I want to have a conversation with them about it. I just don't want to throw out references because anyone can just throw out references left and right if they're not listening. There'd be no point in it. But yeah, if you want to stick to Quran only, you do have prepubescent marriage supported by the Quran itself. Let's see if I can change something on here. I don't like light mode. I like dark mode. But there it is. Dark. There we go. Theme. Cool. So let's go ahead. I'll pull that one up here. Just because you won't step up. Guys, come on. Step up. If you think you can own it, step up. If you've got the truth, then you have nothing to worry about. If you don't have the truth, then, well, you got a lot to worry about. Let's see if this is the correct one here. No, it's not. Grab the wrong one. This is a problem with having too many windows open. Grab the wrong ones. I think this is correct. Yes, it is. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, we've got the right one. So this is talking about divorce and the time period waiting for them to remarry after divorce, and specifically talks about for those who have not menstruated. The period is 3 months, and also for those who have not menstruated, the people who have not yet menstruated would be prepubescent children. That's the only category, because you also have women who have already done it, they've already passed it, so no longer menstruate, so that's already a category. And women who are pregnant, so that's already a different category. So this would be specifically women who have not yet menstruated. You can divorce them. Their period is 3 months. They must wait before you can remarry them. So I don't think he's a liar. I think you just don't like what he said. I don't think we're not. I mean, if you want to come up, you're saying Christians in general are pathological liars. Come on up. I mean, how am I lying about this? All I do is look at the words and let them speak for themselves, okay? It's very simple. Just look at the words and let them speak for themselves. If you disagree with it, I mean, again, I am literally giving you a platform to come up and speak your piece if you disagree with it. Okay? If you want to bring your evidence, if you think that I am absolutely out in left field with this here, come on up. It's a couple clicks and you are here with me on here and we can go through this. But yeah, according to this, it would be marrying a prepubescent child would be okay. There's no restriction. Even Mohammed Hijab agrees with me on that. If you go by the Quran alone, you could marry at any age. If you want to call in, here we go. He's just like, in my defense, well, in his defense, I don't normally stream on Sundays. Today was a special exception. But I don't normally stream on Sundays themselves. So he wouldn't have expected me to stream. Normally I stream on Saturdays. But I was live with Hatoon, John, and Elle yesterday on Hatoon's channel talking about Am I Racist, the movie. So, yeah, I kind of made you decide between the two. So if you want to see what Thaddeus has got cooking, go check out what he's got. If you want to see here, come join. I'm really hoping this guy comes up, though. Come on, dude. Just click it. It's not complicated. It is easy. Yeah. I wouldn't say all Muslims, but a good portion. In fact, they are commanded to lie. But what do you expect if you follow the greatest of all deceivers, as stated in the Quran? You end up with a bunch of liars who prefer to deceive. Yep, they claimed that the Quran was perfectly preserved. They did not have to claim. What's so bad, really bad about this, and really speaks to this just being garbage, and some of them actually knowing that's garbage and still selling it, is that they don't have to make these claims. They didn't have to say that it was perfectly preserved, word for word, dot for dot. They didn't have to say that. They weren't forced to say that. I apologize for that. I do admit I have different setup than normal. My computer flooded. I am on my wife's computer. So I don't have my normal setup still. I'm still in the midst of trying to get everything worked out with getting a new computer. So if there's any audio issues, I do apologize for that. Look at Muslims. Here we go, right here in the Quran. Talking about a prepubescent child being married beforehand. And the only reason to have this waiting period is because they are having intercourse, that is expected of wives to please their husbands in this way, and you're waiting to see what happens during that time period. So, oh yeah, blame your wife. Actually, I was kind of blaming Hatoon, but no, I'm kidding. It's just what happened. It was great live stream. It was fantastic time. And I think we are doing at least one more. We're talking about doing it on another movie with her, John, Elle, and myself later on. The movie, I think was it Queen of Heaven? No, it wasn't Queen of Heaven. It was Woman of Heaven or something like that. It was a Fatima movie. When you sit down and watch. Yeah, I'm aware of the problem. You see, the issue is, you see, my computer sat right here on my desk. We had a leak. Through various means, we had a bunch of water, and it all poured down right here. Not here, not over there on the other side of the room. Here, on my computer. And I picked it up, and it just pouring out water from it. So it was quite a few gallons of water poured on it. Unfortunately, it was on at the time. It wasn't afterwards. It's, well, I think it's dead in the corner. It is a sad, sad little thing. Should make a movie. I'm a nerd. Nah. Would be tempted to make a movie about Muhammad's life, though. That would be interesting. An honest, actual movie. So, dude, where you at, man? Come on. Come on up. I know you know how this works. I believe you've been on here with me before with Adam Seeker just for a second and did not proceed. So again, call in, and I know that you have at least YouTube channel, a YouTube account that you can use for verification. Again, I don't see that, so don't worry about it. It's not going to go anywhere to me. Yes, there's wife beating verse, and if you come up here, I can show you. Come on up, bud. I don't do conversations with the live stream unless no one's man enough to come on up here. But come on, you know, you're man enough to do it. You can so totally. You see, if you are absolutely right and you are confirmed in your belief and you know there is no wife beating verse in the Quran, then you should be so willing to come up here and talk to me about it. Absolutely. Very, very simple. If you're not, then well. Let's see here. Put that on. Oh, there we go. That's Quran 4:34. That's also confirmed in the Hadith, but let's be honest, we know that he doesn't want to run to the Hadith. He doesn't like those Hadith things. Those Hadith things are mean. So, as far as the wife beating, you get one more option. Come on. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to come up here. If not, then I'm just going to show the verse itself. I'll just shame you without you having the ability to refute me because you're not willing to step up here. It's very simple. I'm giving you the opportunity to click the link. Come on up here. And you're more than welcome to refute me before I even show it. Okay? Come on, buddy. You can do it. Not that hard. You click the link. And you join the live stream. Or are you too scared to come up? Because let's be honest, it's not like I'm not that intimidating. Do you think that I can prove that you are wrong? If yes, then you have something to be afraid of. If no, then you have nothing to lose. The only thing you would be able to, the only result, if you're right, is that I get embarrassed and you show that I was wrong and that there isn't wife beating in the Quran. If I'm right, then you're shown to be wrong. So the question is, how firm are you in the belief? Yeah, I'm just, at this point, I'm just waiting. I mean, I've got the main topic. This guy doesn't want to talk about the main topic. He's already ran away from the main topic. Because he knows he's got no ground to stand on. So now he's running to a different topic. Come on, dude. Seriously, just click the link. Prove us wrong. Come up here. Have a dialogue. I mean, you're more than willing with Adam Seeker, if I'm right of who you are. So, okay, well, time's up. I'm going to share this one instead. So right here is talking to husbands. And this is about women you fear. Some translations call it disobedience. If you fear it, so you don't even have to actually have any proof, you just have to fear it. And they've translated arrogance here, which is weird. But some translation disobedience. That would be the concept here. There are steps that you're supposed to do, and the last step is you strike them. Now they add lightly here, but that is not in the Arabic. There's no part of Arabic here. So forsake them. Where am I going? I'm going the wrong way. I'm sorry, I'm reading it the wrong way. Finally strike them. See, no lightly in this, and even finally is added to this, and strike them. Then if, and then it goes into the next section. Talking about if they turn back to you, then you're fine. But dude, this is very clearly, you're supposed to strike your wife. Seriously, dude? It's, oh no. Well, I've got this right here, and I'm hoping that you're not trying to claim that Quran.com is Judeo-Christian Zionist, made up by Judeo-Christian Zionists. Now, I don't know about Sunnis or Shias, if that's what you were trying to write there, but yeah, no. Nope, nope, nope. So Muhammad's still a pedophile. We're 1 hour into this thing, and so far, no one stepped up. You did you. On what? How do I know that beat doesn't refer to beating in a game of chess? Context. But yeah, that nope, doesn't work that way. So you're supposed to sit down and play a game with her. I mean, that's about as good of an argument as I've ever heard from Muslims on that. Because I'd love to see, because I know that they add the word lightly there. And if you're saying, no, you can't look at the Hadith aren't reliable, we're not going to look at the Hadith, we're only going to look at the Quran, okay, where in this verse does it even hit that strike them is to be lightly? Because the same strike is also used in other sections of the Quran as to strike them on the neck, which means to kill them. So, yeah, it does not mean peacefully. Again, dude, because you're not stepping up. I think that's their main point. It's if you know the truth and you have evidence to back it, then you should be able to just come up here, give your statement. Again, I'll give you an opening, just let you go and make your opening statement, and then we can go into have a conversation from that. I mean, seriously, that's what we're talking about, right? And if you say, well, no, they're just all corrupted, they're all fabricated, they're okay. Where's your evidence for that? What's your proof for that? I mean, I'm open to having your perspective posted on my channel. I would just like to have that conversation with you. Very plain and simple. Strike at bowling. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, if she was the if your wife was one of the pins, I guess you could use it that way. I mean, I don't know how much more I could be transparent, how much more I could put this out here by opening up my channel for you to come on and give your perspective and give your points. I don't know how much more I could, how much more transparent, how much easier I can make it, how much more open. I mean, I literally am just opening myself up and saying, here's the topic, here's what I believe about it, come refute me. You can't get much more open than that. At least not in my mind. Make it as easy as possible. Also, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, click the bell, and share if you so desire. Make sure to share it with any Muslim that you have. Invite them to come on here. Definitely if they have had the arguments. You're right. Only Muhammad actually could because, yeah, 9-wife bowling. Muhammad's the only one that had at one time 9 wives. So yeah, I guess he's the only one that can go bowling, wife bowling. Okay. Then come up here and show me. You just made a statement saying that they are kafirs, that they're not believers, that you don't. Okay? Come up here. Let's have dialogue. I mean, I literally do not have a horse in that race. Okay? So I'm literally just having you come up here and give your perspective on this. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Once you start actually reading the sources, it kind of all falls apart for their claims and kind of all reinforces the Christian claims. Yes, you keep on lying. Why are you letting me lie then, according to you? Come on up. Then you don't lie. Come on. Holding you up, buddy. Come on up. Come do a showdown. Come show me where I am wrong. If it's not all just
wacky quacky interpretation.
Your own wacky quacky interpretations. Fine. If you think I'm debunked, come debunk me. You think everything I am saying is like...
It's all gone in the bin, not even the recycle bin. You can't even recycle it. It's gone to the waste, like poo. It's gone.
You think that's all my claims, then it should be easy for you to refute me. So come on up. So, I mean, I could turn to the Hadith, show you where she is 6 years old in the Hadith, but you're just going to discount and saying, oh no, the Hadith, that one is corrupted. I don't like that one. But I bet you there are Hadith. You know what? I would bet you a pretty penny that there are Hadith that you follow over the Quran. I would bet you a pretty penny that's the case. You know what? I would say so much that I would apologize here live to you about that if you come up and prove to me that there are no Hadith that you follow at all. And I would apologize to you for that. Live, right on my channel, even there. See, you would get an apology on my channel, right there. For everyone to see. I mean, how much more do I have to sweeten the pot? I've already got that you'd embarrass me if you were correct. They'd show that I was a liar live in front of everyone. And now I've even offered to apologize to you if I am wrong. So, I mean, what do you got to lose, boy? I would like to hear his evidence that that's not allowed in Islam. I'd love to see the references you have for that, the actual evidence. Why do you believe that? I've already shown in the Quran where it says you can marry prepubescent children, which would be children all the way to, well, age 0. But where does it give an age difference? Where does it say that it's wrong? I would love to see that. So just click the link, call on in, and show me. And if your claims are correct, it should not take you long to figure it out. It should be just, oh yeah, you look up this verse here, and this shows you that you're wrong on this. So why don't you come and show me? I mean, I can show you Hadith here because you're not stepping up. Okay, well. So we can go ahead and show the different Hadith on this. Here's one. This is Sunan Abi Dawood. 2121 talks about Aisha's marriage to the Prophet Muhammad. Now, in this case, it says 7 years. Others say 6. I guess it counts on how you're counting. If there's like a divide where they divide up their year, and if it was close enough to that they might have heard incorrect. So here's another one saying that the apostle married her when she was 6 years old. And she was taken to his house when she was 9. Okay, very critical. She was taken to his house when she was 9. And that one, just for Sahih Muslim, 1422b. And we have another one here, which is Sahih Muslim, 1422c. So another section of that, talking about it. Now, this one says she was 7 years old when they got married, and that she took her dolls with her. So she was 9. So this is when she went to go and be with Muhammad, and the marriage was consummated, and she had her dolls with her. Now that's very critical. Why she has her dolls? Because after all, the next one I have here, which is Sahih al-Bukhari 6130, which is right here. Sahih al-Bukhari 6130. Says that she was playing with dolls in the presence of Muhammad. So this is when she was living with Muhammad. So this is after the consummation of the marriage. She was playing with her dolls. And here you go, right here is a statement that playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden. But it was allowed for Aisha at that time, as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. It's a bit of an issue there. And this one right here, we'll go ahead and share this one, just reinforces that, because she was 9 when that occurred, and she was 9 when she went to Muhammad's house. And here you go, again, the marriage was consummated when I was 9 years old, and I used to play with dolls. So there you go. And this is Sahih. So, a bit of an issue if you believe in the Hadith. Now, if you want to tell me that these are all fabricated Hadith and that they aren't reliable in any way, shape, or form, come up here and show me. Very simple. So come on up and we'll have the conversation, but he keeps changing topics. You keep doing the Muslim shuffle. Even though you don't have to. Yeah, I think you might be fabricating that one, bud. The Trust Me Bro 316 says, oh, Prophet marrying prepubescent girl is wrong and immoral. There, I've been refuted by Trust Me Bro. Fantastic. Yeah, this whole argument, I know that they, for a long time, a lot of Muslims would hold on to this, and there's still Muslims today that hold on to this, that have to show over and over again. No, she was prepubescent, according to the Hadith. According to the Quran, it's okay. According to the Hadith, she definitely was. And the ideal man married a prepubescent girl. Muhammad was a pedophile. He married a prepubescent girl and consummated the marriage with her. That's what the text says. I don't have to add anything to it. I just have to read. And whenever they say, but you see, Rebecca in the Bible, she was 3 years old. And we open up the Bible and there's no mention that she was 3. Now, you can try to do some gymnastics with the math, but the problem is that's only telling you when Abraham knew about it, not when she was actually born. And if you're understanding it, it's a bit of a trip. News traveled slow. So, yep, did not work. I guess you would say his own desires and lusts for a child. That would be his only. Yeah, that was it. There was no actually. Maybe he was doing it as a political move in order to try to make sure that the first male Muslim convert was going to stay with him, Abu Bakr, and that he would be with him. I think that would be a stretch. Again, that's my own. Just trying to think of any other reasons. But no, the only one that's stated is because he wanted her. Yep. I think Rebecca being 3 is in the book of the Council of Nicaea. That was taken out at the Council of Nicaea. Or Matt 39. If you guys don't know what that is a Sneeko reference to when Sneeko, claiming to have been a Christian, doesn't even understand that. It doesn't even understand the basic references. Or that the Council of Nicaea is not a book that was taken out of the Bible. Yeah, so if Jesus came down and said, go marry a 6-year-old, I would reject him as God. I would have some serious questions. I'd have some serious questions about my sanity. Making sure I'm not nuts. Wondering what was in that drink last night I had. That'd be where my brain would go. So think about this for a second, though. So the only witness to what Muhammad hears from the angel Gabriel is Muhammad himself. Because for a while he kept pointing to the Jews and Christians saying, see, they will verify me, they will verify me, they will verify me. And they didn't verify him. So the only witness he has is himself, that he is hearing God's word and he has absolute authority. So of course that leads to absolute corruption. That's a no-brainer. That's absolute power, absolute authority, absolute corruption. Yeah, love to see that. So I did the calculations on that. And the calculations for 10 camels drinking 30 gallons each. Let me pull those up real quick. So yeah, 30 gallons each. That would require her to do over 34 trips back and forth, because in the Bible it's not like it was right next. He wasn't like standing there next to the well. So she had to travel back and forth. So in total, you're looking at like 2,500 pounds of water this girl traveled back and forth with. That's pretty crazy. So that is pretty crazy on. No, you're not blocked. You're right here. I still see you. I haven't blocked you to my knowledge. I don't know, there might be comments that might not allow it through depending on what it is. If you're having comments not come through, let me see here. I'm not seeing anything on my end. I'm using StreamYard, and StreamYard just shows me the comments no matter what. So, here's that. Wait. Hold on here. I thought I gave the next Soccer Nike a wrench, and I don't see a wrench. Why isn't there a wrench next to the next Soccer Nike? There's injustice here. There. Okay. Fix that issue. Golly, I thought that was fixed already. No, you're still there. Yeah, so the Dead Sea Scroll was found by a Muslim boy, which ends up verifying that the Christians were right even before Jesus. See, now this is interesting, okay? So I know that, and I saw him on here earlier, Truth Defenders did a debate with Nadir on if Muhammad was demon-possessed. It definitely looks like Muhammad had epileptic seizures of some sort. Definitely whenever he would get his revelations, right? But I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a demon possession situation, if he just believed his lies, because, man, some of these things just seem way too convenient for it. I mean, if you look at the part in the Quran where Muhammad's like, don't say it too late at my house because it makes me uncomfortable. I wouldn't say this, but Allah is saying this, so Allah is telling you not to be here too long. It's like, okay, hold on. It seems like you're just using it as a disguise to run behind. And it seems that it would hasten to fulfill all of his desires, so it seems very convenient for Muhammad quite often to have these situations that everything he wants, he gets. And he doesn't really have to deny anything because he gets special exception, like he wants more wives than 4 wives. Oh, look, I get a special revelation. Oh, you want the wife of your adopted son. Oh, you get special revelation. You're able to have that. It's one after the other, and it's just, guys, this seems too convenient. Even for him to be insane or mentally disabled, he would have to be playing this up. Now, could he have been suffering from something at the same time? Sure. Do I think he was nuts? Probably. But I think in the end he is responsible. Witness against you. I don't know who you're referring to. If you're referring to me, dude, you're a pathetic witness then. Because witness keeps getting an opportunity to come up and refute the statements. And you're just there sitting there saying, oh, he's lying. He's lying. I don't want to bring any proof. Don't want to actually come up here and have a conversation. But he's a liar. He's a liar. I mean, seriously, I think I should have that. Yes, I do.
To bluff, huh? So you're probably playing cards, and he cheated.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
From now on, that's it. That is what is going on here. And every time you keep saying you're lying, keep lying, or something along those lines, it's going to be the same video over and over again. Very simple. If you think I am lying, then you should be obligated to come up here and refute me. I've made it as simple as possible for you to be able to do. I mean, we're an hour and 20 minutes, and I think you joined 20 minutes into the stream, so you've been here for an hour in the chat, throwing shade, without having any actual substance to anything you have said. You have just thrown out useless words without any foundation. But I've given you the opportunity over and over again to come give your references, give your evidence. Nothing from you. Nothing at all. So, and there are so many more hadith on this topic of Aisha's age when Muhammad consummated the marriage and when this whole thing came down. I mean, seriously. I just keep this on hotkey.
To bluff, huh? So you're probably playing cards, and he cheated.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
So here is let me go ahead and share the reference he wants. Share screen. I believe this is the right one, or it's the other one. I'm not sure which. There we go. Okay. So where in this verse are you saying that there's no... Let's see, where was your comment? Your comment was right there. Huh. Weird. Weird, because you see, right here says otherwise. And those who have not menstruated. So again, dude, come on. I am not lying. It's right there in front of you. If you refuse to look at what is in front of you, it's not my fault. I can't do that. I mean, if I give you references and you just say, oh, it's not there. No, it's not there. I don't believe it. It can't possibly be there. La, 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 la. I can't do anything about that, bud. That's on you. But please, don't call me a liar. Don't call me names. If you make stupid claims that aren't actually true, in about 5 seconds of reading, you see that it's wrong. I mean, gosh, we're going to have to call in someone to help you. Dude, do you have any friends that you could say, come help me on this live stream? Because, man, you're dying. You're getting your butt beat, bud. I thought you're supposed to own the demis, not be owned by demis. At least in your perspective. No, I think Abu Bakr either originally started, because that would have been first followers. He would have been the very first. It could have been the other ones followed out of fear. I think some actually did buy into it. I think it's on an individual basis, so you'd have to look at them individually. So you would have to look at each individual one. I think Abu Bakr was going for power. I think that was pretty obvious. I think that Umar. I think Umar believed it. Bought in hook, line, and sinker. Some did, some didn't. So you can see how instantly Abu Bakr grabbed power right after Muhammad's death. I manipulated that. Allegedly manipulated that, according to some sources, and took power right after Muhammad's death. Other sources say that he just stepped up when he was needed and took the power that was required. What is he called? Dude, this is not this right here. This reference I am showing you right now is Quran 65:4. This is from Quran.com. Okay? It's not a Christian website. I'll even do this just so that you can actually look it up yourself, because for some reason you seem to be allergic to references. Right here. Here's the reference, bud. Right there. Boom. Easy peasy. Just click on it. Pulls it right up. Show you exactly where I am coming from on this. Show you that I'm not covering anything up. The Quran say, I'm starting to wonder. And he's saying that the Quran is the only reliable. Well, this is coming from the Quran itself. I think we've blown his mind accidentally just by just showing him one Quran. Well, you see, I would agree with you with this topic, but he wouldn't agree with you on this point. I'd agree that the Quran was definitely fabricated later on. Because the same people who are allegedly to have given the Hadith are also the ones who created the Quran or put it together. So, buddy, again, I don't know how much more open and accepting I can be with you wanting to come on in. There you go. So I'm just reading through the comments there. You give a whole bunch real quick. Yep. They talking about her hair falling out, Aisha's hair falling out. I think it just broke it up into two different references. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, oh, that's convenient. He waited until her hair grew back and then married her. It had nothing to do with her age. Yep. So she was very, very young. Now, buddy, don't spam too much. I do agree with some of what you're saying. I haven't read through all of it yet, so I can't say everything. I think 95% we agree. So, yeah, the references are very clear. Let me see a couple more. Yeah, Rebecca was not 3 years old. And it's such a stupid claim. If you actually read the references, it's very clear that she was not. You admit that the Quran is fabricated. Therefore, you are using a fabricated source. Refuted. Well, if I was using this Quran as a source against a Christian, yes, that would be incredibly stupid. But according to Muslims, this is reliable, so that's why I go to it. But you already know that after all, the next Dr. Soccer Nike. Oh, the next Soccer Nike, not Doctor. You don't have Doctor there. After all, you're not a medical doctor. So again, this is an open call-in, guys. You're welcome to call in, have a conversation on this topic. I have turned it over to this gentleman, asked him to come on up, give his perspective. He has refused multiple times, but the invitation is open to anyone who wants to do it. So, yep, my stance is that Muhammad married a prepubescent girl, that he is a pedophile by all standards, consummated the marriage with the prepubescent child, and Rebecca was not 3. I'd say so. Predates the Talmud by 500 years. It states Rebecca was 20. Boom. I'd say that's in line with what we see in the actual scripture once you actually look at what Rebecca was doing. Because Rebecca's carrying water jugs. She's not doing any things you would expect a little girl to be doing. So, nope. Can't say that it's what's to be expected. Dude, you've had your opportunities. Come up here and stop just giving random recitations. I've shown you where in the Quran they say that you can marry a prepubescent child. Because if you can divorce her, of course you have to marry her first. And of course they are having intercourse because that's the point of the waiting period. You're a very pathetic witness. So we're giving this witness plenty of time to come up here. And give his evidences. Again, for his point or not. I don't think that in the Book of Wingedings it's that way. Dude, do watch your language a little bit here. Do not appreciate it. Hey, Gabe, welcome. So far I've been challenging Muslims, have not been wanting... What's that? Mike Winger fan. It's the funny thing. What David said about Mike Winger fans, I was just referring to that. Let me check a couple things. Yeah, I don't know why I was so off on my reference there. So, okay. So again, haven't seen anything from you guys, from the Muslims here. So I gotta admit, guys, if you're not willing to step up. Oh no, he's running away now. He is running away after he once again claims.
Bluff, huh? So you're probably playing cards, and he cheated.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
That's all you've done this entire time is just claim that we're lying. I'm saying, just show up. Show up. You can't say, well, I didn't have enough time to. You've had an hour. I used to watch his stuff, and David Wood called him a nerd. Yeah, well, yeah. We Christian nerds gotta stick together, I guess. I don't know how many times I've heard David do quote Star Trek or something like that. Reference it at least. Well, so far you claim that it didn't mention anything about menstruation, but yeah, I'm still waiting for you to come up here and refute me on this. You claim that this is a weak hadith, but the reference shown on the screen is the Quran. And I even shared the reference, dude. It boggles my mind when Muslims come and claim that they can refute easily, but then just don't show up, right? Nope, nothing yet. Okay, fine. I'll put it out there one more time, but I'll call it quits here pretty soon if no Muslim is willing to step up and defend your prophet. Admitted that the Quran is a weak hadith. Yes, he did. He claimed that the Quran is a weak hadith. It is weak. You cannot use that here. It's fabricated. The Quran has been fabricated. It has been a weak hadith according to him. I don't think he's actually ever read the Quran then. If he can't even recognize this as being part of it. I mean, seriously, the website's up in the corner, Quran.com. And I'll go to whatever version he wants me to. So, well, while we're waiting, interesting little updates that we are working on. There are a couple of things that we are working on going, including trying to get a store up and running where you might be able to buy screaming goats that eat the Quran. Yes. About a year ago, I made one for David, and then everyone seemed to like it. So we might be able to produce those and sell them online to you guys, as well as a myriad of other things. Some more useful than not. One of the things I'd like to do is produce, and I've already started working on them, a deck of memorization cards, which on one side would have the topic and some artwork. On the other side would have different verses that need to be memorized. Like if you said that, Muhammad married a prepubescent child, would be the topic. And then the references would be like the one that's up on the screen right now, Quran 65:4. And then you would have Hadith like this one right here. Sunnah Abi Dawood 21:21, and a myriad of other ones listed down. So you can. The idea is to help you memorize the references so that if you're in a conversation with a Muslim in the future, you have them all memorized real quick and can go through the references. The main point would be to know, okay, it's Quran. Because what you could do with it in the field is say, okay, well, in Quran 65:4, it talks about being able to divorce prepubescent children, which is the one that I've had up on the screen most of the time. And from there, you could ask the Muslim to look it up in the preferred version that they have there, and you can read it through with them. So I'm hoping to make like a deck of like 50, I think 54 is a standard deck size, and provide those on the website that we're looking at setting up, that you guys can go and purchase it there. And I'd like to eventually do one for Islam, one for apologetics, one for polemics, different types of polemics. So you could have a deck that's all about refuting Islam. You could have a deck about all that's just defending Christianity, like the Rebecca accusation would fall under the defense. I would like to get a memorization for be able to memorize stuff that's like against, Seventh-day Adventists, against any sort of argument that's put against Christianity. Buddhism would be good to eventually hit. And I'd like to have these available, and probably, you got deck 1, you might have deck 2 if we expand it to like 108. And then you could just sit there even by yourself and just go through and see on one side the topic. Okay, what verses or hadith go with this topic here? Okay, this one, this one, this one, this one. You can flip it over, confirm that you've got that right. Boom, you're done. Go on to the next memorization and go through those so that you can get one after the other real quick. I would like to be able to equip you guys that way so that you guys can be sharp and quick on them. You said you'd buy one, the deck, not the goat. Yes, so I'm working on the artwork and the design for that, but I'm hoping to get that out to you guys. I don't want to say too much in the next month, but we have some things that might be coming up pretty soon. Yeah, in Ohio. So, yeah, we had that at the Ohio conference. We had some of the goats. I made some of the goats eating the Quran, which is completely within what the Hadith say, because the Hadith says that a goat came along after Muhammad's death and ate some of the Quran. So don't just think I'm pulling this, just teasing and making fun. So that will be available there. I'd probably do some burqa goats too, just for the fun of it. How much for a real goat? Well, you got shipping and handling. That's going to be a lot on that. I do have some real goats, but it counts if you want it live or already prepackaged. That would be your call. Yeah, not cheap. Not cheap for a real goat, definitely nowadays. Goat meat. Goat meat's fantastic. Goat meat's really good. Goat jerky. I like deer jerky better. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm looking at getting going. I want to get some of the funnier things. So there will be like joke things that I'm looking at making. There will be some specific Quran reference, the memorization cards. We're looking at doing some pamphlets that we found are very helpful with Muslims. Just a handout. We'll probably have a free PDF that you can download, or you can order the number of papers through us if you wanted to. Bunch of stuff that we're looking at doing that would be, I guess, handy, trying to equip you guys to to be able to go out there and just have good conversations with Muslims, show them the actual evidence. Just like the claimed Muslim today, I don't think he's ever read this part of the Quran. And it doesn't take much, because I don't think he's ever seen it, because he called me a liar for bringing it up. He said that it doesn't talk about menstruation. He's talking about, going back through some of his references, he's claiming that it was a hadith that was fabricated between 200 to 400 years after the revelation of the Quran. Well, this is the Quran itself. It's not that span. Now, if you're saying that the Quran was corrupted at that point, okay. Now, I definitely say the Quran has been corrupted. That's been changed. But yeah, this is where he's saying there's no menstruation in the verse. That is just a lie. And like, pull it back up, and I don't know how much more you can get to show these things. You will kill the goat eventually, I'm sure. I don't know. Counts on what sort of Quran you're giving it, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's its natural diet. But considering that at the time of Muhammad's death, you have a lot of the Quran wasn't like an actual book at the time. It was just a bunch of notes on random scraps, some rocks, some leaves. And who knows, a goat comes in and sees a leaf sitting on a bed, eats the leaf. Definitely if the goat is used to going in and getting fed in the tent, which we know Aisha used to do. And then boom, there you go. Dead goat equals food. Well, it should very, very halal, because the goat has been fed the Quran. So, I mean, does that make it a holy goat at that point? Don't know. So, yep. So that's where we be at. So no Muslims willing to refute me. So, hey, welcome. It's good to see you again. So, yeah, so that would be the plan going forward. That's one of the reasons why I haven't uploaded as much as I've wanted to. In fact, it was if I was going to work on some of the art for those cards today or do this live stream. But I haven't actually done a live stream on this channel, I think, in 2 weeks. So I was like, oh, I need to do a live stream. But we have got some of the work. I know I've released, since I'm part of the team that helps run Act 17 polemics, I know we released one of the prototype looking cards. I think it's the sun setting in a muddy spring. Let me see if I can pull that on up, because I don't actually have that on this computer here. So, 1 second here, but that would be part of the memorization, and the front would be, the side that I was showing would be the art with the will be the art for the card with the name on it. So here we go. Let me share this instead. So you go. So setting of sun. So then that, and then on the flip side of this card, you would have all of the references to that, everything. So if they say, you know, the Quran is full of scientific miracles, and you're like, well, what about when Dual Carnane is over there finding the setting place of the sun? Again, this is a very early version, but it's just the concept, trying to get the concept out there. Setting in a muddy spring. Yeah, it's not muddy, but yeah, so what do you do with that? Well, where are the references for it? On the flip side would be the references, so you can quickly learn and memorize it. And again, I want like 54 of these cards in this pack. So the question is manufacturing, all of that end of it. I'm working on that, as well as the art and design of it. So if you're familiar with like Magic the Gathering, I want that sort of style, but have the flip side instead of like the art style that's on the flip side, to have the references. So there'd also be one on, yes, that would be probably in the polemics, sorry, the apologetics one, not the Muslim polemics deck. That would be talking about, you know, 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, or that would be Bible references that would show that. That would be the tearing down that argument, how to do it. So it would be a how-to. You'd have that in front of you. That way you can memorize it. You could pass these out to Muslims if you want to do that with this sort of deck. Just say, hey, you know what? Here's a bunch of evidence that you should probably look at, and here you go. You can take a look at it, and they could go through. On the other side, it will be, we're looking at having around the border a Quran verse, so they can't just rip the cards up, that it actually contains Arabic from the Quran around the border, and then all the references on the other side. So I'm working on that sort of style concepts. So I want to let you guys know that if I'm not uploading, I'm probably working on that. It's just a long process to get that all through. There's also other fun stuff, like I said, with the goat eating the Quran. Planning on having that on the store that we're looking at starting, as well as different sort of little other fun stuff. One of them is I want a bookmark that you can put in a book that is just a goat's head with an open mouth, and the bookmark is the tongue. So you just pull the tongue and it goes towards whatever book you have. So it's eating your book while marking it where you're at. So, okay, well, guys, I can't say that I am impressed by the Muslims' arguments, for there was only one willing to actually join. And if he is the guy I think he is, he did join on whenever we were talking to Adam Seeker, and was very upset that Adam Seeker called Muhammad a pedophile. So obviously he didn't have anything to refute those claims, because he didn't even deem it worthy to come up. So he decided not even to join me here live on the stream, even though I took an hour and just said, dude, just join. I was talking to him in the chat, inviting him to join, showing him some of the references that we had. I know he wanted to throw out all the Hadith, though he definitely follows Hadith. He just doesn't realize it. And then I showed him the Quran, and he made multiple lies about it. Yes. His was a real brand of interesting. He claimed that it didn't talk about menstruation, when it definitely did. He claimed that it, and I even highlighted the word that he claimed wasn't in the Quran, and then he claimed that the Quran was a hadith that was fabricated. Yeah. So here you go. He claims that wasn't talking about menstruation at all, and that was Quran 65:4, which specifically does. I mean, you can't get much more. I mean, it's just absolute denial of what is there, absolute denial of facts. And unfortunately, someone that does that, you can't really you can't have a conversation with them when it's like, okay, dude, right here is where it's saying it. Oh, it doesn't say it in the verse. It's like, yes, it does. It definitely does. But yet, whenever they are faced with this sort of information, their knee-jerk reaction is, of course,
To bluff. Huh? So you're probably playing cards and he cheated.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
yep, plain and simple. I had that playing every time you call me a liar after that point. I've played that a lot. In my opinion, is it worth it to remove all the bad parts from Islam to make it more tolerable? No. Islam needs to be completely burned. It is complete fabrication and a complete lie. It needs to be absolutely destroyed. Plain and simple. I don't know who you're referring to in that. So, okay. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I'll have to call it here. Plain and simple. I ran out of time for today. Yeah, you need to remove the garbage that is Islam itself. Again, if it's fabricated, if it's false, if it's not reliable, if it's an absolute lie, it is. Jesus Christ is the only way, the truth, and the life. And anything that says otherwise is not the truth. So thank you guys for today. Thank you for joining me for what it's worth, and have yourself a good one.